Welcome to the Happiness Drive Success podcast, brought to you by Motivate Coaching, the multidiscipline practice for extraordinary people. Here, we discuss finding your happiness and how you can use it to drive your success. Please welcome your host, co-founder, CEO, and master of discovering happiness, Stuart Isham-Fairbairns.
Good morning, wonderful, beautiful people. How are we today? It's a lovely morning here. Harlow and I out on a hike as always. Thank you for joining us. Harlow is busy running around sniffing everything. For those of you that have not met Harlow yet, he is my golden retriever. And we go on a hike every morning for a couple of hours where we come out and spend time in nature, listen to audiobooks, listen to podcasts, and indeed record podcasts. And here we are. Today I'd like to talk with you about the PPC formula. Now the PPC formula stands for production and then production capability. Now if we're wanting to break that down into situations and scenarios that'll make sense to you, stick around. Okay, so if we look at production within this context, production is basically the output. If we look at your cooking dinner, for example, the finished meal, or the completed meal, is production. That's what you have produced as a result of doing the cooking. Now, the action that creates the end result is PC, it's production capability. So in that analogy, you are the production capability because you are cooking the meal. So, I hope that makes sense. To give another example, if you're a boss and you have employees. Now, as a boss, you'll have a business and you have outcomes that you need to achieve. You have goals for the business, you have projects that need to be done. Now, that project or that goal, that project finished or that goal achieved is production. That's the end result. So production capability is going to be all of those involved in helping make sure that that happens. Okay, so all of your staff, your teams, everyone that's going to be involved in making it happen. So why this very simple formula is so incredibly important and impactful is because a lot of the time, many of us, this is both in a business, career, and personal context, we forget to focus on PC. And we focus a lot on P, on the end result, what it is that we want to achieve, or what it is that we're not achieving. And we get frustrated and we focus all of our energy and time on that end result. But what we often neglect is PC. Now, depending on the situation and scenario, PC, as we've just explored, could represent teams. If you're a manager or a leader or a business person, it could be yourself. Now, if you want to get fit, specifically, you want to have a flat stomach, hypothetically speaking, now that's your end goal. Now, how are you going to get there? You're going to need to go to the gym, and you're going to need to do all of these things. But what you want is just to get to that washboard stomach, isn't it? And we often forget to look after ourselves. So in this instance, PC is you, because you are the one that's going to do the work to get you there. Now, obviously, this is all within one body, so P and PC are very closely entwined. However, you might imagine that in order to get P, you would have to look after PC, which you absolutely do. But in this scenario is a good example of where it often slips. So people will go to the gym once a week and keep eating McDonald's and not understand why they're not getting the washboard stomach. Or they'll look at one aspect, do one thing, but not look at the whole. So what we need to do when you want P, when you want an outcome, a goal, a focus, is to look at what elements will need to happen in order to achieve that in a healthy and sustainable way. Because if we don't spend time looking after PC, we don't spend time looking after what it is that helps us get to our goals, we're not going to get there. And you might get there once, but your PC is going to be so strained, the chances are it's not going to work going forwards. Now this could represent in wanting that washboard stomach, having tried a few times before, but now just given up and accepted that you're just never going to have it because it's just not for you and you've got the wrong build or wrong genetics or something like that. These are all reasons we tell ourselves to make the disappointment more palatable. But the reality is we probably didn't look after PC. We didn't look after ourselves. We didn't look at the 100% of the process that's required in order to get that result that we want. If in the context of teams, if you haven't looked after PC, then that could represent in many ways, such as not working synergistically. So not involving everybody in the process, everybody getting their DNA and their fingerprints on the work that they're doing. It could be that you're not listening to people's needs, requirements. It could be a number of very important aspects of a manager or leader's roles, two very different roles, but for the context of this conversation, I'm just throwing them in one basket. If you do not look after your teams, you don't look after your people, chances are they're going to get fatigued, they're not going to be comfortable, and highly likely that they're going to leave and move on to somewhere else where they do find that. So, whether you are looking at a situation that you're bringing teams in order to achieve an outcome, or if you're doing it yourself, remember to look at PC, production capability. Now that is everyone that's involved, be it you or a team, or whichever it may be in whatever scenario. Ensure that you're looking after the requirements, the needs. Think it through. Now this is a very important part of a job of a manager who manages people, surprisingly enough. And it's very important that we are making sure that the management of those people is done in a way that is conducive to P, yes, to the outcome, absolutely, but also to ensure that PC, that they are looked after, are listened to, are honoured and valued. And you can't pretend to look after PC. It doesn't work. People are too intuitive. And sometimes we even try to trick ourselves into thinking we're looking after ourselves. But if we're not truly there, it'll end up losing its power until PC becomes no longer able to produce and moves on or gives up. It sounds simple, as well, it might sound quite complicated, but it sounds simple when you say PC formula and quickly break down the differences there, being the output and the process of getting to that output. But putting it into action could be quite difficult. Now my encouragement to you is when you want to achieve something, by all means, go to that place, look at that goal. It's very important that you have a GPS for yourself of a direction that you want to head. Now you can have short term, medium term and long term. You can get really clear on that and get really specific about what it is that you want. We all have future dreams. We all have kind of visions of the future, but generally they're usually pretty fuzzy, out of focus, and can change here and there, and we're not very specific. Now, if you were to put that into the context of taking a journey somewhere, and you had a family get-together or a meeting or a presentation or something at the other end, and you put in fuzzy directions, you're not going to get there on time. You're not going to get there at all, probably. You're just going to be driving around looking for the place. So in order to be heading the right direction, you ought to be super clear about what that dream is. Now again, short, medium and long term. Spend some time focusing on how you're going to get there. What is it you'll need? What can you do to ensure that the things that you need are supported? That's the sort of third dimension. Where do you want to go? How are you going to get there? And then how are you going to look after what it is that helps you get there, to make sure that it's strong and by your side and still going. Now again, in the context of just you, that might be your physical, psychological and emotional health and well-being. So it's ensuring that you are being kind to yourself and resting, and whilst you're pushing forwards and making things happen, you reach out for support and help. It might be in the context of having teams, that you ensure your teams are getting that as well, that they're getting the support, the help, the openness, the synergistic working environment. PPC. As you go through your life, ensure that you are looking not only at where you want to go, but also how you're going to get there and what you can do to keep that strong. And you start putting all of these building blocks together that we're discussing through this podcast. You're going to be unstoppable. And I'm right here with you. This is just another way for you to achieve what it is you want out of life. If you want to learn more about the PPC balance, there's lots of information online that you can look at. Ladies and gents, come and join us on the Facebook community. It is Join Your Happy Place on Facebook. You can also come and look at the website, which is motivate-coaching.com. And if you'd like to discuss these principles and concepts deeper, and maybe have some coaching, which is you focusing on PC, helping you get where you want to go, then please do get in touch. All right, folks, have a wonderful, fantastic Top Banana Day, and thank you so much for tuning in. Talk soon.
Thanks so much for listening. If you're interested in learning more, go to the Motivate website at www.motivate-coaching.com. If you'd like to get in touch with Stuart directly, you can get him at Stuart, spelled S-T-U-A-R-T, at motivate-coaching.com. Thanks so much for joining us, and remember, your happiness drives your success. See you next time, folks.